11 p.m., playing the music of the Beatles together, apart, along with Beatle cover songs and songs the Beatles covered, along with songs the Beatle either guested on and or produced. And of course, we provide Beatle news. It's not the same show where they play the same 10 songs. So join me every Friday for Beatle songs. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
This program is brought to you by the Paramount in Huntington, who presents 1964 The Tribute, a Beatles tribute concert on Friday, September 28th at 8 p.m. The Paramount is located at 370 New York Avenue in Huntington. More information can be found by visiting ParamountNY.com.
See, this is hi-fi, okay? High fidelity. You know what that means? That means this is the highest quality fidelity. High five. Those are two very important things to have in the stereo system.
Join me, Kim Tracy, on High Fidelity for a mix of music with a focus on newer music and lesser-known artists every every Thursday at 2 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC and streaming with the iHeartRadio and TuneIn apps.
All right, I may be demon because I was talking to Joe D and I wasn't paying attention to when Kim's promo ended. So
the D stands for demon.
Yeah, I think so. So we had a little bit of a lapse. Pardon me, please. So yes, we will. When we left, we were talking, introducing our guest, who
should be calling presently.
Let's try this. We'll go to the phones and say hi. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Bob O'Gorman.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
How are you, sir?
We're great. Good to talk to you, Ray. Good to hear from you, Joe.
Hey, sir.
Yes. Now, we met on Playing in Traffic, and we got to learn quite a lot about what you do, but this audience is going to be new to you. So, Bob, please tell us who you are and what you do, and then we'll just fill in from there.
That's great, Ray. Yeah, you bet. My name is Bob O'Gorman. I'm the president and the CEO of the Automotive Lift Institute. I guess it's probably best to think of ALI as the industry watchdog, if you will, for automotive lift safety in the North American marketplace. We were founded in 1945. We're credentialed by the American National Standards Institute. A whole lot of technical stuff here, guys, but I'll try to soften it up. We actually write safety standards. We're a developer of safety standards, and we have a safety certification program for automotive lift certification coming right out of the factories. And then we have a certification program for those folks who would go in to the shops and the service bays and inspect the lifts annually to make sure they're safe.
Okay. How widespread is the entity, Bob?
Well, the organization is based, I'm going to say today anyway, in beautiful upstate New York. We have a killer day up here, and I know there's a lot of rain going on down south with the folks who are, weathering those storms. Yeah. But we're based in Cortland, New York. Our membership crosses all the way throughout the provinces of Canada. We have some folks actually performing inspections in Australia and in the UAE as well.
Okay, that's pretty widespread. So the idea here is safety and to help workers be safe and obviously avoid catastrophe in the workplace. So what does the training encompass?
Well, again, we focus in two primary areas right now. So the question really is: do we focus on lift safety, or do we focus on lift safety from a standpoint of inspection? So really quickly, from a standpoint of lift safety, I always say I break it down as easily as I can. There are two types of lifts out there. There are those that are certified to meet the national safety standards for electrical and mechanical devices in the U.S. and Canada, and then there are those that, quite frankly, aren't. In the case of if you're looking to buy a lift, we don't sell products. The manufacturers sell the products. Ray, we sell the safety. Okay, so what we would ask folks to do is, if you're looking to buy a lift, go to autolift.org and just look there under buying a lift. You'll get some great advice to make a lift consumer to become better educated before they go out and start engaging the sales folks. And then if you're of the mind, you should take a look at what we call buyer beware. And buyer beware postings, they may be older. Those companies may have gone out of business, but it's that watchdog activity that we do where we know there's some things that you need to be careful of. You need to look out. The manufacturers haven't corrected them, so we actually post those for the public to see. Now, from a standpoint of safety for the lift operator, it's a growing movement out there. And, the standard for lift safety is, from a standpoint of operators, has been out there since 1994. Unfortunately, there are a lot of folks who really haven't paid too much attention to safety. As occupational safety and health in North America has kind of become a fee-based scenario with penalty programs, it's moved to the forefront. But also, as the products have changed and you've got non-certified products out there, we do see some injuries. We do see unfortunately, some loss of life. The training is absolutely critical, especially in today's environment where you don't have vocational training as much as we did back in the day.
Yeah, very true.
And so you've got folks who are turning to this type of a career who may not have had that robust lifestyle of growing up turning wrenches.
Right. Bob, how in our circles, and I'm sure if it's in our circle, then it's in many others because we're not the epicenter by any means. But many more people that we know now that are as their car guys are getting older and have more disposable income and can do things the way they want. A lot of guys are putting lifts in their houses. And even outside their houses is I'm sure that factors in as a growing concern where safety is concerned also.
True. The International Building Code calls out the requirement for lifts to be certified to the programs which we offer. And, the reality is I've been in product safety my entire life, from, back as a young guy in the Coast Guard all the way working through one of the biggest nationally recognized testing labs globally before I came here. And, the reality is that, folks have got to think about the fact that whether you're at home or whether you're in a commercial environment, an accident's an accident, and your body and your classic car and even your garage doesn't know the difference when that accident occurs.
Yeah, a hunk of metal hits you. It doesn't care where you are.
Right.
Exactly.
One of the things I've said to people that have said to me, I'm going to put a lift on my garage, or I redid the garage, and I said, what kind of floor do you have? How thick is the concrete? Do you know? And if you don't know, you better find out. And they say, well, why? It's concrete. And I'm like, well, because
no.
concrete ain't concrete, as we all know.
Right. So again, those of us who know, and it looks like you've done your homework, concrete, even the attachment bolts are extremely important. And so, the best thing to do there is consult the manufacturer, consult the manufacturer's instructions. If they're not clear, we have a national standard that talks generally about what the concrete should be. But, 2-inch, 3-inch concrete is going to cause you some problems. You really need to speak with the manufacturer. You really need to understand that if you're planning to do your own install, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to follow those instructions. It's probably best if you're not in that business to get some professional help, even if it's going into your home.
Sure,
absolutely. I've seen guys. You buy a lift, or you actually used one. Shop's going out of business, whatever. And it's like, screw it, I'll do it myself. All you need is a tape measure and maybe a level, and we'll just screw it down with some big bolts. And no, that's just an invitation. I'm like, do me a favor. If you put your car up in the air, I am not coming over there to take a look at it for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sure.
Not for nothing. That's just not safe.
Joe, you entered that conversation where I'm really passionate. We were on Talking with Traffic, and Ray talked to me about a used lift, and I think I stuck him to the wall pretty hard on my philosophy.
Yeah, you did.
on used lifts, right?
No, you did not, and I'm glad you did, because that's exactly what. Now, because of that, I've talked to the shop owner and said, hey, listen, we need to get this thing looked at, and there's a few issues that we need to address. I mean, we use it all the time. It's working, but it could be optimized. It should be, and it should be. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead, and I think that's the that's the main takeaway here. As long as you don't ignore a situation, you do address it and look into it. That's that's what you have to do.
Yeah, there are some real gems out there where, somebody's shop has gone under. They're not in the business anymore, and you can get pretty lucky and get a great piece of equipment.
Yeah.
But quite often, I said the signals, Ray. If you remember the signals to look for, if there's no manufacturer's nameplate on that lift, that's a signal that probably it's been scrapped. Okay.
Right.
Or it's coming from a manufacturer that's I'm not going to say they're not reputable, but they definitely are not in the market for the long term here, because all the standards even require you to identify what country of origin you have on these lifts nowadays.
Right. Well, that's something I want to get into. Maybe in our next segment we'll talk about that. This lift is actually made by a company called Grant. Which is,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. I've seen it around, seen it in other shops, and it is it's an electric lift. It's not an old hydraulic job, so it's more the modern age, if you will. But now let me ask you this: do you guys cover specifically the 2-post lifts, or do you go with the 4-post or the drive-ons as well?
Well, there are 7 main styles of lifts that are out there, and then there's a number of variants. But if you want to talk about 2-post lifts, that's the largest production lift that's moved into North America today. But the reality is, we address the certification, the testing, and the inspection of any lift that's out there, regardless of the style. 2-post, 4-post. The mobile columns are very popular now. Wireless mobile columns. There's parallelogram lifts. The styles just continue to go on. And then there's the capacities. 5,000 all the way up to combinations that'll lift a railroad car.
Oh, truckless. On your website on autolift.org, is there can people see graphically what those 7 types of lifts are?
Absolutely, yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Good. Up in the headings at the top of the page, there'll be a section that identifies that you're looking for a lift, and then we actually educate folks into quite some detail on what the different types are and what their typical uses would be as well.
Okay, very good. Now, we were talking before about mounting a lift on the concrete. Obviously, a 2-post lift, all that weight of the lift itself and the vehicle on it is centered over those 2 posts. And you look at it reminds me back when my wife and I bought a waterbed back in the 80s, and we went into the store, and everybody's feeling, it's gonna cave in the floor, the house is gonna collapse, you're gonna have a flood. And this place had a king size waterbed set up, filled on inverted Dixie cups.
Cool.
Incredible.
And the idea was it was force per square inch, and they had a nice little write up on a board and said, a woman on high heels. They gave an explanation of force per square inch, an elephant's foot, and a woman on high heels exerted the most amount of force per square inch out of any of them. It was incredible. So next time when I get my back walked on, it made me think about that.
Right, sure.
But these Dixie cups, they said, please don't sit on the bed. They didn't want to add any more weight to it, but it did statically hold the weight of a waterbed. Inverted Dixie cups. So I'm thinking a 2-post lift as opposed to a 4-post, which now has much more area per square inch to dissipate that load. I'm wondering if the call out for the concrete would be the same or different. I don't know.
Well, again, I don't want to get too technical here, but just like the way that Dixie Cup presentation was put together, there's a good engineer behind there that figured that out, right? So the reality is, let's talk about 2-post lifts. You can't just talk about 2-post lifts. There's 2-post lifts that are 6,000 pounds or less in capacity. There's 7,000, 9,000, it goes up to 12,000. And in recent years, we're starting to see 2-post lifts that are being used to pick up dump trucks and other heavy vehicles like that. So we're starting to see 28 and 30,000 pound 2-post lifts.
Wow.
So, a lot of that has to do with the engineering that goes into the product, and that's why we advocate there are 2 types of lifts, those that are certified and those that aren't, because the engineering and the footprint that lift is put into, in combination with the attachment devices, and ultimately the concrete make a difference.
Right. Bob, can we'd like to keep you on through our next break here, and we're gonna pick up again with lift conversation. If you could just hang with us for about maybe a minute or two.
You bet.
And we'll be right back. So we're going to take another quick break here on Motormouth Radio. Ray Guarino, Joe D. Stick with us. We'll be back with more from Bob O'Gorman and the Lift Institute on 90.3 WHPC.